Next game. What are we moving on to next? Let's stay in the NFC South. Let's do Panthers and Falcons next. Panthers win this game. Obviously, this had a lot of NFC South implications as well. If the Falcons won this game, they would have needed the Buccaneers to lose in order to make the playoffs, but they were still in it when the ball got kicked off. However, Carolina won this one in a shootout, 44-38. Top 5 graded Carolina Panthers in this game. Offensive tackle Taylor Moton at the very top of the list with an 81.7.
Look at it. It's so awesome. Look at it.
Well, just the offensive line.
We finally made this happen.
I didn't realize it was all offensive line.
I didn't rig this up or anything. I asked for it a few weeks ago, I think, with the Falcons, and we got 4. Now we finally got an entire offensive line as the top
This is
5.
absolutely perfect because Moton, I mentioned 81.7 at the top. Center Cade Mays an 81.4 at number 2. Offensive tackle Ike Ekwonu with a 73.0 at number 3. Guard Chandler Zavala with a 72.9 at number 4. And then guard Damian Lewis with a 72.5. And the icing on the cake here is that Bryce Young was the highest graded player for the Carolina Panthers as the QB here with an 89.3. On Atlanta's side of things, not an all offensive line, but you like the names that are on this list. Chris Lynchard with a 92.3, guard Matthew Bergeron a 91.8, wide receiver Drake London an 89.9, running back Bijan Robinson an 89.0, offensive tackle Jake Matthews with an 83.2, and then Michael Penix Jr. a 95.6 PFF grade. You love to see that. That goes right into my stat that told the story here, and that was just what a game this was between two young quarterbacks that could be phenomenal to watch as the years come. The big-time throws, we had 10 big-time throws in this game. 7 of them were for Michael Penix Jr. 3 of them were for Bryce Young. No interceptions, no turnover-worthy plays. I mean, it was just, as the meme says, cinema between these two quarterbacks. And it goes to overtime, so we get a little bit of extra ball as well. You get the Steph Curry fadeaway touchdown to win the game with Bryce Young in the end zone. I mean, it was a beautiful display of football between two quarterbacks who we weren't sure that Bryce Young was going to get to this point, right? When he gets benched at the beginning of the year, you go, oh no. We thought the bad confidence that we saw from his rookie year was going to be washed clean. It's all new coaching staff, new structure. He's going to be good to go this year. And those first 2 games for Bryce were bad. He gets replaced by Andy Dalton. We don't even know if Bryce Young's going to be the starting quarterback again this year or in Carolina at all whatsoever. He gets put back in the lineup. Looks a lot more confident. As weeks go on, he looks even more confident. This was fantastic for Carolina. And I know that Carolina dropped a few spots in the draft. In my opinion, this was the most important thing that happened for them. To end the season the way that they did, scoring as many points as they did, and for Bryce Young to look as good as he did, that is the most important part of all of this for Carolina, not just a couple of spots in the draft. So that was my stat that told the story. What a special game this was. I absolutely love to see it. What about you?
Just incredible. And I'll stick with the 2 quarterbacks for a second. First of all, Michael Penix, just a spectacular display. You talk about arm talent and just a willingness to make throws downfield. I know this is real bittersweet for the Falcons. It really stings a lot because they were the favorite coming into the year to win this division, and everything happened. Kirk Cousins and the contract and all that. But for Michael Penix to look as good as he's looked and make the throws he's made when we've seen him this year, at least you go into the offseason knowing full well who your quarterback is. At the very least, you know what? There's a lot of teams in this league that can't say that. Even in just 3 starts with Penix, we can say, okay, we're building this thing around Michael Penix, and we know what we have to surround him with. Bryce Young, and for as great as Penix was in the grade, that was one of the 6 best grades by any quarterback all season.
I believe it, yeah.
We saw 3 of the 6 best grades by any quarterback all season this week, and we'll get into the other ones. But Penix was spectacular. But Bryce Young, look, at least Penix gets to do it with Drake London and Darnell Mooney and Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. Bryce Young put up these numbers with Xavier Legette and Jalen Coker and Adam Thielen. Chuba Hubbard was out for this game, suffered the injury. Jatavian Sanders is just getting in a rhythm. I mean, you look at this. 84.7 passing grade, 3 more big-time throws. Since week 9, he's got an 87.1 overall grade. And he's second in the league in big-time throws, I believe, behind Joe Burrow. He didn't just play decent football, fun football down the stretch. He played elite football.
He looks totally different.
For the first year and a half that we saw him play, I just never saw him play with this much conviction.
No.
He he just all of a sudden he came back and he's just in command. And I think that's the biggest thing is what worried us the first 2 weeks before they put Andy Dalton in for him was just like, this guy has zero confidence.
Zero.
And now he has – I mean, we're turning around doing the Steph Curry, Lamar Jackson turnaround, throwing touchdowns now, just looking away. I mean, Bryce Young now has established himself again, I guess, as their franchise quarterback. And I know they didn't win a ton of games this year, and their defense has a long, long way to go. They gave up the most points ever in a regular season. But we can fix the defense, and we can find another receiver. We can find these things. We've got that offensive line and this quarterback playing the way he's playing. We can build. And I think that's the biggest thing. Dave Canales this year in his first season has to consider this a success despite all of their other flaws because Bryce Young played the way he did down the stretch. For me, it was the single most fun story from any non-playoff team that I watched the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Every week I actually had fun watching the Carolina Panthers down the stretch. And on the other side of it with the Falcons, both of these teams need plenty to get into Super Bowl type contention, right? The stat that told the story for me was, we saw that offensive line with the top 5 for the Panthers. Falcons, right back to it, no sacks. No sacks at all.
You give credit to Carolina.
Absolutely. No,
line.
it is a good offensive line. They've been better than they've been given credit for all year. But the Falcons, 15% pressure rate as a team.
Bad.
Can't have it. 12.8% pass rush win rate as a team. Not just one guy, the whole team.
12?
12.8.
It's bad.
And for the season, still, we talked about it all year, and they got it together recently, and the coverage let them down, but now it just all caved in. And they finished this year in the bottom 3 pass rush grade, pressure rate, pass rush win rate. Maybe there's a couple equal, but there is no more obvious need in the entire NFL than the Falcons needing pass rush help. There isn't any more. I mean, this is just straight up, they cannot beat good teams, even decent teams and good quarterbacks with this pass rush. Just can't. If they take anything but a pass rusher in the first round of this draft, it would be mind-boggling to me. They just can't. They are incapable of rushing the passer.
I'll go back to a positive for Atlanta. My most impressive was Drake London. 18 targets, 10 catches, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns. Him and Penix are going to be unbelievable this year. Unbelievable.
Penix is a guy, and he did this a lot with Odunze at Washington. When he is a guy like that, especially a guy with size, he just gives him a chance.
100%.
It's
100%.
It's so awesome.
And especially a guy with the catch radius and the strength of catching that Drake London has, because Michael Penix has a howitzer of an arm, and he likes to throw the fastball the most. So if he has a wide receiver, like you mentioned with Odunze, but when he has a wide receiver that he knows, I can uncork this and it's not going to bounce off this guy's hands. Like, that's a ton of faith that he has in him, and I think that Drake London and Michael Penix is going to be one of the best quarterback wide receiver connections in the NFL next year. And then my most disappointing is just not going to Michael Penix Jr. sooner, because the Falcons found themselves too many games behind. Exactly one game behind. Well, I guess it would be 2 now, but they were right there with the Buccaneers. They would have gone to Penix sooner. Maybe this is a little different. Now, I know if you go to Penix sooner, Kirk Cousins absolutely torched the Buccaneers, so it's a little bit of a two sides of the coin.
It's the controversial part of the contract and the decision-making process.
No, I get it. It's just if you are a Falcons fan, with you being so close to this, could have gone to Michael Penix a little bit sooner. I think that you would have had a better chance of winning the division, simply because you watch all 7 of those big-time throws for Penix, it is not even close, night and day different arm strength. I mean, some of those big-time throws that Michael Penix had, I went, I don't know if you should have attempted that. But the miles per hour on the ball is so damn fast, it works. And he gets to the sideline in between the 2 defenders or over the shoulder of the defender exactly when he needs to. And I go, all right, you're playing with fire, but you're also holding the flamethrower yourself. So it was a fun day watching Penix. And if you're a Falcons fan, disappointing end of the season, but you got to love what you got moving forward.
Yeah, they just got to fix up. They got to fix up this defense, and I think they do need one more weapon on the outside for I think Darnell Mooney had a really good year. I think one more weapon would help them a lot, but their defense, they have to figure out a pass rush. Anything at all. If they have an average pass rush this year, they probably win 11 or 12 games.
That would have also helped. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below, so if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can come one today.